First of all, we can look at your romantic life here. We have here the Seven of Cups, which indicates fantasy. It indicates a lot of options. It indicates also scatter energy. So you've got all these cups that are filled to the brim with like promises of a good time, of stability, of everything that you've ever asked for. So all of these options are coming through. There are many, many of them to choose from. Some of them are very, very good for you and some aren't so great. So the whole point here is that it's like being a kid in a candy store. You've got a lot of options on the emotional front that are trying to come through for you, and do as you may. Whatever you decide, just be very, very careful about where you are treading and which options you are choosing. I also want to say that what is not really talked about a lot with this card is that all of these options, it's a major arcana cards, and all of these options means that you can pick one without negating the other options. It's not like a crossroads where one path will negate the other path, okay? So it's less fatal than that. It's less important than that. So I feel that no matter what you decide to do, you're gonna either end up with what you want or what you don't want, but either way, it's the process of elimination that will allow you ultimately to figure out what it is you want, and then, to make better choices or to be sure and more certain about your choices in the future. It's the whole learning process. It's the process of elimination and going through the motions to filter out the things that we don't want, so we end up with something that is good for us. Okay, so it's a very beautiful card. It is a very good card. What I'm also feeling is be very careful about the tendency to daydream, okay? Excuse me. I feel for a lot of you on the emotional front, you are, I'm sensing that you are either thinking about, ruminating over, fantasizing over like an authority figure. We do have the Emperor here showing up, and this is a person that is of like great stature, great status, and they have a lot of wisdom, work experience. They're in a high profession. They really care about their public image, and they're very, very stern, very strict. So a lot of you, this might be a boss, might be a supervisor. There might be some fantasies associated with someone in the work environment, and there is some type of a power dynamics, power differential between the two of you. So I feel like it's kind of like, having that fantasy for somebody that you know that you can't really have. So I do sense that coming through. And I do feel that the person that you've got your eyes on is someone who's very, very strong-minded, strong-willed, quite intelligent, and pretty is in a position of authority over you, okay? What I'm also sensing is that I feel, Geminis, honestly, that you've got a lot of options opening up on the romantic front, and the universe is trying to deliver this for you and trying to steer you in the right direction so that you can break free from restrictions and unhealthy relationships that you've been contending with for quite some time. And it's also telling you to be very careful as well about who you select to be in your inner circle, who you let into your life, into your inner circle, so that you can develop healthier, more meaningful, and also I feel just, more emotionally rewarding relationships. So options are opening up, and just be careful about who you choose and where you tread, okay? On the interpersonal relationship, on the friendship, but especially on the romantic front. The Emperor denotes a very, very strong person. It's somebody who can be a little bit dogmatic, a little bit stubborn, but I do feel that they have the best intentions for you. So they might come to you with this offer, and you're trying to project, like you're over analyzing already, and you're jumping the gun, and you're just like siphoning, you're just like imagining, what's the future going to look like 5-10 years from now. And what it's saying here is that take it one day at a time and don't overanalyze, don't overthink. Go with your instinct. Learn to trust your instinct and learn to trust that voice in your head when things aren't all that they seem, when things are a little bit cloudy and fuzzy and you don't have all the information. Try to listen to that inner voice, and it will steer you in the right direction, okay? It's your spirit guides trying to talk to you. So in terms of your mental, emotional state, we do have the Four of Swords as well as the Devil. The Devil indicates addiction, and it indicates like ways of doing, behaviors, relationships, interaction with ourselves and those around us that are not entirely positive, okay? In certain instances, it can also indicate like some type of I'm feeling substance abuse, and alcohol does come to mind. Alcohol and other harder substances actually do come to mind because it's linked up with the Four of Swords, which is a recuperation card. I feel like for some of you, you might be in a capacity where you are detoxing in whatever capacity. It could be like institutionally, you might be at a rehab center, a retreat center in order to overcome this. A lot of you are trying to find a little bit more emotional fulfillment, spiritual enlightenment in your own life so that you are potentially taking a retreat away from people, from civilization, in order to do some introspection, in order to get yourself in a space where you're able to listen to the inner voice and to get inner wisdom and to get higher spiritual guidance. Okay. Others of you might be seeking counsel, so you might seek somebody who's like a spiritual advisor as well in order to help you overcome these issues or to help you find answers for them. The devil is also a situation where, we are inundated. We don't know where to go. There is fear, there's restriction, and it's a very frustrating place to be. And I feel like rather than trying to fight it, because, it has such great control over us, a lot of you are trying to find ways to cope with it, or a lot of you are trying to find ways to extract yourselves. So I don't see a lot of movement happening in order to combat this, but I feel that a lot of you are coming to the realization that something in your life has been very, very restrictive for you. It could be physically a person, or just the way that you react to them, or just how controlling they can be. But a lot of you are starting to at least see this is a serious problem. I don't know how to fix it yet, but I'm going within in order to find a way for me to break myself out of this and to find a solution to handle this issue. In terms of what's coming through for your communication, we do have the Eight of Cups and the Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Cups indicates a situation that is no longer emotionally fulfilling for us or is nurturing us emotionally. So we are choosing to walk away from it. And in the process of walking away, a lot of you might have not implemented that physical, extraction process. And you are thinking, well, if I walk away from this right now, I'm going to find myself very, very stuck, very isolated, and very alone. I might not have, any support, emotional support, financial support. So what do? So a lot of you might not have implemented anything at this point, mainly because you are fearing that in the process of walking away, you're going to end up in this space where you're feeling very, very trapped. Okay. I honestly feel that some of you, might be stuck in a situation, and I feel like it might be a job where you are, working under somebody who has just very unrealistic expectations for you. They might be controlling, they might be difficult to work with, and I feel like job security was a major, major factor that's preventing you from moving on, okay, with that Emperor card. It's usually workplace related. And I feel that you've invested a lot of time. You were waiting for some type of a payout, which is promotions, which is kind of moving up the career ladder. And it's also indicating to me this is slaving away, getting promises to have a breakthrough or to be the top manager or the top position of that situation, to be on the top of that pyramid. And a lot of you are realizing that, it was somebody else that was painting this colorful picture, this beautiful picture in order to make you stay. But the reality is that the situation is very restrictive. You weren't really going anywhere. And I feel that this is the month in which you realize that, it's a pipe dream. They were selling you a pipe dream, and you have to walk away from this situation. The offer that was made to you, or that was continually came your way from the other person, was a pipe dream. You started to realize this, and you're at a place now where you're just like, okay, I'm very upset with this. So what do I do? How do I move forward? What is my contingency plan? What's my plan B? Because I feel like before it was all eggs in one basket because you trusted that other person. And now you realize that, oh, they were just, feeding me all these ideals just so that I could stay, just so that I could be complacent and compliant. But they had no intentions of moving me up all along. They had no intention of boosting me up. So I feel that you're trying to walk away and you're trying to do it in a manner where it's not like burning bridges, where it's not a breach of your contract. So you might be contractually obligated to stay and you're trying to, break away for this month. And I definitely feel if it's a situation you're dealing with that involves like, breaching contracts or breaking some type of contracts in order to free yourself. I definitely feel a lot of fear of reprisal, a lot of fear of retaliation as well. So I feel a little bit of a hostile energy coming through, and I'm doing this recording like the very last week of August. So I feel like for some of you, this energy might have come in already and you're at a point where you're just like, what do I do next? Like, what's my next step here? And where do I go? Which direction am I turning to? And I do feel that they're saying here with the Five of Pentacles is a situation in which we are lacking in a sense of direction, lacking in faith in people and in life. And when we're operating from this kind of like this space of suspicion, we have our guard up and we are like in full blown paranoia and things like that. So it's not conducive for attracting a lot of abundance and opportunities and even people that are going to be good for us when we're constantly on the defense, when we're constantly like mired in this state of emotional and spiritual lack and lacking in self-confidence in ourselves as well. So I feel that for those of you who are looking for new jobs, I feel that this is a good month in which you should break out because I feel like you've been thinking about this for quite some time. And then others of you who have been dealing with somebody who was like fed empty promises. And I feel like if that's something on the romantic front that you were dealing with, you're still on the defense. You're still very battle hardened and very weary about letting new people in. And you're still trying to sort out your own financial situation. You're sorting out your life. You're trying to build or rebuild the foundation of your life so you might not be in a position to invite anybody new into your own life. And I do feel some residual attachment with an ex is still in the picture. That's preventing you from moving on completely. And I feel like it's you might be linked together still via finances, okay? In terms of your spiritual advice, we do have the High Priestess here. And the High Priestess is a situation where information is coming to light, where knowledge, expertise, little snippets of information that you've had suspicions about, that you wanted to get to the bottom of, all of these things are being brought up for re-examination so that you can see a situation in its entirety and to see it realistically. We do have the Seven of Wands as well. This information that's coming through, it is going to be a little bit troublesome. It's gonna evoke an automatic response within you. So I feel like it's that whole fight or flight type of a situation where you're gonna hear something that you might not be happy with, and it's forcing you to put yourself in a situation where you're gonna have to defend your territory, defend the things that you are really that you really believe in, that you want to stand up for, that you don't want to lose. Okay, so something is happening this month where it's forcing you, Geminis, to take a stance and to really stick up for what you believe in, okay? And another thing that I'm feeling here is I did the reading for Libra, and Libra had a very similar energy where I feel like they're going to have to take a stance. They're dealing with another person that is questioning their authority. And I feel like this is not the same energy I'm picking up for you, but there's some information coming through. And I feel like Geminis, you tend to be very easygoing, you know? You don't like have you're not a fixed sign either. So you don't have like a very strong, like I would say strong, peeves, like pet peeves. You don't oscillate like between extremes the way that, the fixed signs are or do. So I feel that a lot of things are coming through for this month, and it's forcing you to look at yourself in a different light as well. It's pushing you to really defend whatever it is that you believe in, to not acquiesce to other people in order to maintain peace, and to also realize that, charm and good manners and all of these things, they are nice. They're good for maintaining relationships. But in a situation where you're trying to get your point across and the other person is like purposely not wanting to hear you, you are going to have to be a little bit more you will have to be a little bit more aggressive in order to push your agenda along. Okay, so if you're able to implement this, then I definitely feel you're able to come a lot of restrictions. You're able to break out of your shell. You're able to do things in a different manner in order to push and streamline to push for a resolution or to push an agenda forward in a way that's going to be better for you in the long run. And I do feel that you're pushing ideas forward so that financially you will be covered. So I feel like it's more on the financial front where you're doing this. And I also feel that especially if there have been situations where you were promised something, okay, like there was a contract that was signed where you work for them for 3 years, for example, and then they're supposed to give you some type of bonus or some type of perks. Like they're supposed to give you either a sponsorship or grants, funding, or something, a different position, or they're supposed to promote you. And I feel like they are feigning ignorance, is what I'm sensing, and they're doing it on purpose. And I feel like they signed that contract so that you would be loyal to them, so that you believe that there is social mobility in this work environment. And you're starting to realize that, hey, the term of the contract is ending and they haven't really approached me with this topic. So what am I going to do? And I do sense that you're setting a very good precedence for yourself for this month. If you were to stand up for yourself and if you were to fight for what you believe in, fight for what was promised in that contract, fight for justice and fight for, the things that you were led to believe, because that's what I feel was happening. You came in very, very starry-eyed. You might not even remember 3 years ago if there was a contract that you signed, but I feel like that's something that's coming through, and I'm getting some type of a work contract where somebody wanted to, they wanted to sell you a dream, and they made all these promises, and I feel like you were waiting for them to deliver. You never forgot about it. You were waiting for them to deliver, and they're telling you, in order to get other people to deliver, you need to hold them accountable to, their promises, to the things that they bring to the table. So you are going to have to defend what you believe is rightfully yours, and to defend the give and take in that type of a social interaction. Okay, in order to do that, that means drawing up boundaries, and that means enforcing these boundaries. Like, here's what I'm bringing to the table and here's what you promised me. So I feel all of these things are coming in, and it's going to be really good for you. So how you handle yourself is going to bring the rewards that you're looking for. And I do sense it's going to be really good for you to really step out and, just take a stance and fight for it. Okay. I do sense the rewards are going to be greatly in your interest. All right.